This video is my second video in what is now a PatternGenius series because there are two videos. PatternGenius is an app put out by the fine folks at knitCompanion. It is a chart creation and pattern creation app that is very cool. And if you haven't seen the first video, kind of the introductory video to this, go ahead and click the little eye in the upper right hand corner to get a look at that video, or in the video description field below if you're on mobile, I'll give a link to it. That video is an introduction where I mostly cover the free version of the app and the tools that you have in the free version of the app, which is very cool. This one, we're going to dive a bit deeper into customization and efficiency, and I'm actually going to design a pattern right here in the app while you watch. It's a pattern for the shawl on the mannequin behind me. That's something that I designed that I'm going to release from next month, if you're watching the video when it's new. In December of 2021, it's going to be my free holiday gift to knitters, and I have just some notes in Google Drive right now, and I don't have a real pattern, so I'm going to actually take my notes and put them into a chart, and you can watch me do it. And I learned a lot by creating this video about the features in the paid version of PatternGenius. I think you're going to find that they're very cool. If you are new to PatternGenius and you want to give it a try, just go to the Apple App Store. Oh, I should mention, this app is available on iOS or macOS, so you can use it on your iPad or your MacBook. Currently not available in the Android format, but we have it just for iOS and macOS. Go to the Apple App Store, search for PatternGenius, one word, and you can download the free version of the app, give it a try. If you choose to upgrade, you can upgrade right there in the app. And is there anything else I need to say? Oh, please do watch the first video. If you haven't seen that yet. I actually watched the first video again just for my own self to remind myself of everything that I learned in the first in the intro video, everything I learned to be able to shoot the intro video to be able to teach PatternGenius. I went back and reviewed it because it's been several months, and I'm going to be building on things from that video here without explaining all of it each time. So go ahead and watch that video. But let's get started with making my pattern. Okay, when we first open PatternGenius, if we already don't have a project in there, we're on the systems page, and we're on, this is highlighted right here, the home button on the systems page. And from here, we can start a new project, and that's what I'm going to do right now. A new project, it's asking for a name. The working name for this is Winter Chill. Okay, so boom, I've got my chart, I'm ready to go. I'm going to do a few things to kind of set up what I have to make it easy, a little bit of prep work. First thing I'm going to do is tap this button here. It's the ruler, maybe, okay. And that brings up my column numbers and my row numbers. If I scroll down, I have 25 columns, 25 rows. And because my pattern starts with a few stitches and then widens out, because there are 4 increases every right side row, I'm going to need more columns than this. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is jump over here to this grid button. That's customize, the customize chart button. Tap that and a window pops up because of course we have so many options for all of this. In here I can change the chart name. I'm going to leave it as that for right now. I can jump back in here and change these things again anytime I want. Number of rows, that's okay for now. Number of columns, I'll be changing that. First row number, this is in case, let's say this is maybe the second chart in a pattern, or you have other written instructions before you get to the chart. Maybe your chart starts at a different row. You might have 20 rows before and the chart starts at 21. That's where you would change that. The knit type, these here with the yellow sliders, these are things that you'll want to make sure are correct so that the written instructions that are generated from the chart are correct. Knit type, flat or in the round, mine's flat. Hide even rows, no. But if you do hide the even rows, you can select whether the even rows create stockinette or garter stitch. For now, I'm just going to change the column. I want more columns. I'm going to put in 31. And I'm picking an odd number because in my chart I have stitches here, and it's an even number on both sides, and then a center stitch, so it's always an odd number. Be sure to hit save. The pop-up button says, pop-up box says, you're attempting to change things. Yes, that's fine. If you hear noise, it's because I have dogs, right? Okay, so now I have my 31 rows, my 31 columns, I mean, and I left the row numbers the same. Next thing we'll do is a little more prep work. You see this long gray box down here? That's the favorites bar. That's where we can add the stitches we're going to be using all the time so that we don't have to look for them up in here each time. We can just grab them down from down here. And to get a stitch into the favorites bar, you just double tap it. You see the knit stitches down here now? You also see that box popped up. I'll show you again. Double tap this and P, purl, popped up. In the last video, I was so impressed with that. I love that feature. But for this chart, I don't need to know what all these are. I'm going to put the stitches that I'm using right here in this box, and I just need, I don't need that box popping up. So I'm going to go to up here to System and tap the gear. Show stitch name. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay, and get back to my pattern, my almost pattern. So I know I have knits, I have purls. I'm going to select this NS stitch here, double tap it, because that's no stitch. And then I also have yarn overs. Whoops, double tap. There we go. Now all the stitches I'm going to use for this chart are in here. And there's one more thing I want to do just for my own pleasure in working this. Because there's a center stitch, it'll be easier for me to keep track of where I am. I'm going to put that center stitch in a different color. I'm just going to pick a pretty color. I'm also going to tap this paint button. The hand button lets you pop in one stitch at a time. Paint button lets you fill in a bunch of stuff at once. And I'm going to put in, make the center stitch blue. And I can undo that later. It's just for me while I'm creating this now. I'll go back to white. Okay, because my chart starts out with a few stitches and then gets wider, I'm going to have some no stitches in this for the part of the chart that I'm not going to need. And in row 1 of my chart, after the garter tab, it is 15 stitches. It's 7 on this side, 7 on this side with a center column stitch. I'm going to select no stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then black those out as no stitches, and the wrong side row is going to be the same row 2, so I'll block those out too. Okay, I'm actually ready to start doing some stitches now, and the first thing I'll do is yarn over, because it's 1, 2, 3 yarn over, 1, 2 yarn over up to the center stitch, and we're not even going to pay attention to the other side of the chart for right now, but I've already got a good start going here. And then the wrong side rows are knit on the wrong side. Okay, 2 rows done, right? Next, I'm going to select no stitch again. And in this chart, it increases, like I said, 4 stitches every right side row, which means 2 stitches on each side. So I'm going to allow for 2 more stitches there and do 2 more columns with no stitches. All right, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, 1 stitch before center stitch, and then the wrong side is knit on the wrong side. Whew, we're off to a good start. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, yarn over. I'm only doing half the chart. You might have an idea why I'm only doing half the chart, but I'll get there. 1, 2, 3, yarn over. This is, there's actually a couple charts in this pattern. This is the easier of the two. Oops, you see what I did there? My pen dragged, my stylus, I dragged it out, but this amazing button right here, that's the undo button, ta-da! Okay, and one more. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and the wrong side is knit. Okay, look at that. We've got half of the chart going. Next, I want to fill in the other half of this chart, but there's an amazing feature we're going to look at right now. This button here, the select tool, the select button, it brings up another toolbar. That's highlighted now, and I can select any part of the chart that I want, but that's not what I'm going to do. I have the ruler out, right, with my row numbers and my column numbers. I'm going to select this whole half of the chart minus the center line, okay? Okay, when it's selected, it turns yellow. And after you have something selected, these other options pop up. And these are copy, cut, mirror, fill, replace. I'm going to select the mirror button. And when I do that, this turns blue. When it's blue, you can move it. I'm going to slide it directly over here. It just mirrored everything and I slid it over there. You see that? While it's blue, you can still move it. And if you have it in place, you can double tap it to get it stuck down, glued, pasted, whatever. Okay, beautiful, right? That was easy. I'm going to go ahead and take out these blue stitches that I put in. Okay. And the last thing I'll do in here is I'm going to go ahead and finish this chart. I don't need all of those rows that I had there. So remember, back to the customized chart, number of rows, I have 10. We'll just make it a 10 row chart, save, yes. Look at that. That is great, that is beautiful. I'm so excited, this is so cool. Okay, now, a few things I'll show you in settings. This is where we're going to come back to in just a minute to talk about like making a PDF out of this pattern right now. I can do everything to make my PDF ready for consumption with other knitters, whatever. It's all in here. Did I just bump the camera? It doesn't look like it. Okay. I'm going to hit this key button because in here you can customize the key, and whichever symbols you have in your chart will appear here. It's kind of confusing. It looks like a lot, but let's just go ahead and read it across this way. So for the plain empty box, on the right side of the work, the abbreviation is K. It means knit, and I can add a long description here if I want. I just tap that and I can type in whatever I want as a longer description. Like probably not necessary for the knit stitch, but you might want to explain a CCD or something that's a little bit more that requires more explanation. If I keep reading across, on the wrong side of the work, the abbreviation is P, short description purl, and I can add a longer description if I want. And that continues with each one of the symbols that's in my chart. If you want to modify, if you want to customize one of the symbols in the chart and to make it your own or to add more of a description, just make sure it actually exists in your chart before you go in to make changes like this, because only what's in your chart will appear here. Okay, let's get back to this main page because we are all ready to do some real stuff with this. Now, I've said before, you can make your entire pattern in here. And for me, I'm really used to making my patterns in Google Docs. And so I will import my chart and my key from the camera roll right into Google Docs. But let's go ahead and talk about making it all from here. If you turn this toggle on, this box here becomes notes in your PDF. This is where you can add information about yarn weight, yarn amount, needle size, everything else. You can put that in here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And then you can also add a pattern photo from your camera roll or take a photo with your device. And now we're going to jump down here. This is the share button, and I would add to camera roll if I wanted to make this in Google Drive, but we're talking about doing it all here. Generate written instructions. This is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. I'm losing my voice. I'm so excited. And create PDF pattern. Okay. I didn't add a photo, so the PatternGenius logo showed up here, but here's the title to my PDF, the first page, the second page with my beautiful chart, the key. You have the symbol, the right side of how to work that symbol on the right side of the work, how to work that symbol on the wrong side of the work, and then the written instructions row by row. And if you're a designer, or even if you're a knitter, you probably know that people either prefer a chart or prefer written instructions. They are very opinionated about this sort of thing. So if you're designing a pattern and you're able to provide both this easily, that is a bonus. The other thing that's really important about this is there are no typos in this. And when you're writing a pattern and you're writing, possibly hundreds of lines of row by row instruction, that's where you're going to have a mistake. You're going to miss a yarn over, you're going to type the wrong number, something can happen, but there are no mistakes in here because there are no mistakes in here, and those written instructions were generated from this. Okay. It's not even I'm not even done with all the coolness yet. So if I tap the share button here from this PDF page, it gives me kind of a typical Apple way to share things. And I also see that I have knitCompanion in here. What happens when I do that? Well, it's in knitCompanion now. I can start this project in knitCompanion. Isn't that amazing? Okay, we're not going to do that now, because there's one other thing I want to show you. And that is that I'm in here and I'm taking a look at this, but it does not mean that I'm done with this project. In fact, I can go back to my pattern here. I can add more rows, I can add more columns, I can change anything. And really what I just did there was like, how does it look so far? But you can come back and change all these things in here. You're not finished with it until you decide you're finished with it. Clicking to generate a PDF or have a look at what the finished project is doesn't finish it, because I can change anything at this point. Let me check my notes real quick. There are some other things. This video is getting long, and so I didn't have time to cover them. Hopefully we'll cover them soon, because this is kind of a big one. We didn't go over repeats, but this button here will let you create a repeat in your pattern. And there are also color symbols that we didn't cover in this, but I think we'll cover those soon. But I can provide a link in the show notes to the little short videos on the PatternGenius website, where you can learn about those things until we get to them here on VeryPink. And that is it. So much fun. It's kind of like a video game for pattern creators. If you, again, would like to give PatternGenius a try, just go to the Apple App Store and search for PatternGenius. You can give the free version a try, and you can upgrade right there in the app if you choose to. Also, in the video description field below, I will give a link to my entire knitCompanion playlist. It's a different app, but made by the same people. One's for knitters, which we're all knitters, and the other's for designers. Both of them are great apps. Anyway, I hope you learned something here. I have another chart to make for this pattern before I release it next month. So I'll see you then. Good luck.